why is it that every Matt Damon character needs rescued in every movie that he plays? This Saving Private Ryan, Interstellar, The Martian. I believe there's probably more that I'm not thinking. He's always needing rescue.
Quit going places.
I saw a website that calculated the costs of rescuing Matt Damon in movies, and it was like $900 billion.
And how many lives
that the world has spent to rescue Matt Damon from movies.
Damn it, Matt.
Quit going places.
Would you just stay home?
Stupid Matt. Well, hello there, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Confused Breakfast Podcast. Do you remember the pure joy of a trip to the video rental store as a kid?
Yes, sir.
The excitement of walking down the aisles, browsing the names in the artwork, and finally picking out the movie you're going to take home with you. Sure, it's hard to beat the ease of the modern era and streaming platforms where you don't even have to leave your couch, but there was something truly special about making that trip, picking a movie out by hand, and for better or worse, feeling like you were actually on Omaha Beach on that fateful day.
Oh, man.
On this podcast, we revisit and dissect some of our favorite childhood movies from that magical era to see if they still move us the way they did as kids. I'm your host, Mike Schulte. Joining me as always, two dudes who have a bond as tight as military brethren. Shaun Pryor and AJ Vance, how the heck are you?
It's true. We've been on tour. We discussed it before. Yeah. That's the closest to a battlefield that I have ever been on.
Yeah, it smells pretty close, I have to imagine.
Yeah.
Inside that van.
A lot of pee in bottles. A lot of, we're not stopping for nothing.
I know. Yeah, you just go, man. It's basically what it was.
Head into unknown territory.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have a prediction. I think people, if you're tuning in, that you should, on YouTube, start casting your polls now for who's going to cry first.
Yeah.
Who looks like they're about ready to cry?
Who does?
I've been very emotional lately, so
I know.
This we will talk about it as we move on, but generally people do tune into this podcast for the comedic factor, other than the one guy who doesn't like that we laugh, but we like to have fun with movies.
Don't give him a voice.
I keep doing it. I love him so much because he keeps changing his rating. I love it. Anyway, but yeah, this is still gonna be fun. I still think if you're in this for the comedic factor, like I think we're gonna still have a good time with this movie. We're gonna do what the Confused Breakfast normally does, but this is gonna be a special one, my boys. On this episode, we discuss the number 24 top-rated movie on IMDb, nominated for 11 Oscars, winning 5 of them. A movie that somehow lost the Best Picture award to Shakespeare in Love, which proves that none of what I just said even fucking matters.
No.
Yeah.
Despite being the highest-grossing film of the year, it lost to Shakespeare in Love, a movie that got Tom Hanks inducted into the U.S. Army Ranger Hall of Fame as an honorary member. We are, of course, talking about 1985's Clue. God, who fucking writes this? 1998's Saving Private Ryan.
Well, dang it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another nostalgic journey to the past with the Confused Breakfast. Sit back, relax, and enjoy wherever you are in the world.
I feel like
Take it away, boys.
I feel like I'm gonna need Lottie's voice after this episode.
We need to bring her back.
Just
have
kind
her
of
bring us
calm
back
down. Yeah.
Just have her call in again and just say something. Just, it's all right, guys.
It's all right,
make
boys.
it
You're
through.
going to be fine.
I love it.
Well, if you're new to this podcast, we will be reviewing this movie with a modern eye. But in order to do that properly, we must first discuss it with pure nostalgia, talk about the first time we saw it, what our rating was. AJ, what about you, man?
This is an interesting one because all I can say is my brother Bob and I we're about 3 years apart. And so Bob was going and seeing movies before I was able to see them. So what would happen is my brother would come home from these movies and he would describe them to me. Like, not like a weird way or anything. He's just like telling me like it's a story. Like, and he's like talking about when Tom Hanks is like firing at the tank and like all the like just other specific scenes, and he's like almost reenacting them for me.
Yeah.
Back when kids used imagination.
Correct.
Not like the modern day kids that don't even know what imagination is, right?
Correct.
Not a phone inside.
Not a phone inside. I couldn't look it up on Google, Google was just a figment of my... Never mind. Anyways, So that's what I remembered very distinctly is like him describing these scenes to me, and then I finally saw it. I think it was cut up and stuff on TV, like AMC or something like that. So you didn't get the full visceral experience that this movie really presents. So that being said, it tore me up even as a kid. So as much as it kind of scared me and the way I kind of was taking it all in, I will give this movie a nostalgic rating of 6.8.
6.8. Shaun, what about you, man?
Yeah.
I first watched this at my uncle's house, my Uncle John.
You got Uncle John too?
I don't think so.
I got no.
Oh, I thought you said, I met Uncle John.
No, I have an Uncle John too.
Oh, okay.
Yes, everyone has an Uncle John.
That is validated.
Uncle John have a band?
No.
Okay, cool.
No. Wow.
I'm just trying to tell jokes while we can. Okay.
So he had a plot of land, and him and his family lived in a trailer. And I remember we would visit there every now and again to hang out. And there was a tornado happening at the time. There was a tornado around where we were, and I remember being scared shitless because I had never seen one. And that's actually, when we do Twister, that's a story I will tell because it's the first tornado I've ever seen in person. And so I saw it, and so he's like, let's just get the family inside. We'll go calm down and watch a movie. Saving Private Ryan was the movie.
We're going to calm down.
Let's go calm down.
Let's just go watch a movie.
Not as scary as a tornado.
D-Day, just huge explosions, huge sound system, gore, violence.
See, if you can't hear outside, the explosions are in the.
Let's watch actual hell.
Yeah.
And then we'll see if hell comes to us.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I watched. I had to have been maybe like 8 years old, to be honest. And I would say that despite being scared, I had watched it since after that, and I'd give it a 7.5.
7.5 for Shaun. I was never really a war movie guy. Like war scared me, like kind of like going to prison, the thought of going to jail, like the thought of getting drafted. Was like so much mad respect to anyone out there who has ever been in the military, whether drafted or whether a chosen thing, because I don't think I could do it. And so like that translated into me just being like, war movies, I don't even want to think about that.
Yeah.
So I saw this, I maybe watched this one time through, but not really paying attention. And then I saw it. This seemed to be on TV a lot.
Yeah.
Where it'd be on maybe a TBS thing, and it'd probably be weirdly edited. But you'd walk in, you'd see a scene, and you go, "Oh yeah, Saving Private Ryan," and you'd watch it, and then you'd stop watching. So like I've probably seen this straight through one time, but then many aspects of the movie over the years. So I just didn't care. Not that I didn't care about the subject matter. I just was like, I don't want to watch that. I'd rather watch Dumb and Dumber, Yeah. So for me, like, call it a 6.5. Our boy Bud Larsen, our executive producer for the day, this was his choice. We're so glad you're here, Bud. Hopefully we're going to have a fun time on this and get this going. But here's what Bud had to say. Growing up, I loved history, in particular World War II history. So when Saving Private Ryan came out in July of 1998, I was going to watch it at the theater. I remember being in awe of how graphic the landing at Omaha Beach during the Normandy invasion was. The plot was based on the true life Sullivan brothers from Waterloo, Iowa, where all 5 brothers were killed in action when the USS Juneau was sunk in November of 1942, and what it would do to the family when not only losing one of your sons to the war, but all of your sons. I heard from family members when my great uncle died in the Korean War, it was absolutely devastating to his mother that she was never the same after losing her youngest son to war. Obviously, the beach landing was the main action of the film, but the movie kept me wondering if they were ever going to find Private Ryan, especially after they found the first Private Ryan, and it was the wrong person, and losing part of their team in the process. The final scene with them using Molotov cocktails and sticky bombs on the German tanks shows how resourceful a soldier can get when they are backed against a wall. My nostalgic rating is a 10.
Mm-hmm.
So with Bud's in there, that is going to be a 7.7 for us nostalgically, which is not too bad on the overall scheme of things. That's going to be number 23, squeezed right in between Out Cold and The Wedding Singer.
No. That makes sense.
Nostalgically, that's where we're gonna put that thing. So
if you want a triple feature, just a sobering sandwich. There you go.
The sober sandwich. Okay, cool. Because you want to get yourself in a good mood so you can handle it.
Yeah.
And then after you've handled it, you want to get yourself back.
Cleanse it. Yeah. It's just a roller coaster of emotions.
I buy it, man.
Yeah.
Well, next it's time to learn all the pertinent, important details of the movie. Shaun, what do you got on this one, man?
I got produced by Gary Levinson, Mark Gordon, Ian Bryce, and Bonnie Curtis. Written by Robert Rodat. Cinematography by Janis Kaminski. Edited by Michael Kahn. Music by John Williams. Directed by Steven M.F.ing Spielberg.
Oh.
Cast: Tom Hanks, Tom Sizemore, Edward Burns, Barry Pepper, Adam Goldberg, Vin Diesel, Giovanni Ribisi, Jeremy Davies, Ted Danson, Paul Giamatti, Dennis Farina, Nathan Fillion, Leyland Orser, Bryan Cranston, and Matt Damon. After reading the books of World War II historian Stephen Ambrose, writer Robert Rodat was inspired to write a D-Day-centric script to be produced into a movie. After mulling over several ideas, Rodat visited World War II monuments and noticed that some of the fallen soldiers were brothers. Taking this idea and the real account of the Nyland brothers, where 2 were killed, 1 thought to be dead, and the 4th returned home due to the sole survivor policy, Rodat set to writing. So that was a true story. And it is like Sullivan Brothers and Nyland Brothers were like the basis of this idea.
Sullivan Brothers became like the first famous story of it.
I think that was the enactment of the sole survivor rule, because they were all on one ship. The Sullivan Brothers were all on one ship. The ship sank. They all died.
Yeah.
And so the military was not having that anymore.
Well, and what a reasonable thing. That's such a. We'll talk about it later, but that makes sense.
Yeah, he split them up. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So the Nyland brothers, actually, the third brother was in a POW camp, escaped, and did live. And I think Fritz Nyland was the one who was sent home. Paramount Pictures became interested in the project and hired Rodat to refine the script. The script eventually caught the interest of Tom Hanks, who gave it to Steven Spielberg, as the pair had been wanting to work together for a while. Spielberg and Hanks both had a keen interest in World War II, so Spielberg agreed to direct the project. Before Spielberg was hired, the studio hired Michael Bay. Although Bay dropped out because he could not resolve his approach to the story, probably because there was too much emotion and humanity and not enough crop tops in the movie.
And drones hadn't been invented
Not yet. Nope.
And this was long before dubstep that was in his movies constantly.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Good on him, though.
Yeah. He would have had maybe Will Smith in there, so you'd some inclusion, so something could get out of it.
Right.
But unfortunately, we don't have a Saving Private Ryan directed by Michael Bay.
And we had to go with Spielberg.
We had to go with Pearl Harbor. Fucking stupid ass movie.
Whoa.
I hate Pearl Harbor.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Shots fired. No pun intended.
Extremely disrespectful. Who cares?
Jeez.
Spielberg had made World War II short films as a kid, along with having high interest in the subject. Spielberg's father also served in the war and would describe stories of camaraderie and friendship as opposed to any violence he may have seen, which Spielberg would find out later there were plenty of. Frank Darabont did some rewrites on the script to refine it and wanted to set D-Day, the second invasion. He wanted the soldiers to arrive on hell on earth, pretty much. Spielberg wanted to make a very realistic, unstylish war movie as opposed to the heroic, sanitized versions he had been seeing. Per interviews with actual veterans proclaiming that he tell the truth. So he met with a bunch of people who were there, and they were like, please do it accurately. Don't make this like a hero-centric... Like the
old John Wayne type stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spielberg wanted older actors in the film because he thought that looking at pictures and footage from that time, that the men looked like men, as opposed to clean-cut boys from other movies.
Wow, I didn't even think about that.
Mel Gibson and Harrison Ford were considered for the role of Captain Miller. Neil Patrick Harris was considered for the role of Ryan, as well as Edward Norton, but Norton opted to do American History X instead. Yeah. Spielberg wanted a relatively unknown actor for the role of Ryan, so he went with Matt Damon. Although Damon was involved in a project which would be released shortly before Saving Private Ryan, Good Will Hunting.
Oh,
and that would launch him into stardom and get him an Oscar.
So when this did come out, he was like one of the more popular names of the movie.
Yes, 100%.
And that was the opposite of what they wanted.
Completely backfired.
Damn it.
Calling up your art people, hey, we got to redo the poster. You got to put Matt Damon's name on there. I know.
Matt Damon? Good Will Hunting? Okay.
Principal photography began on June 27th, 1997 in Ireland, France, and England. Ireland posing as Omaha Beach. I think France, Normandy, they didn't want them filming on the actual Omaha Beach just because why would you want explosions and shit there again?
No.
The film was shot almost entirely in order, which was almost somber experience for everyone. As some of the group were killed off, they left the production.
Oh,
wow.
So it's like as they died, they were gone.
Kind of like modern day television, like Walking Dead. You always hear about those stories about how a main character is killed off, and it's this unbelievable emotional thing because they're like, well, I'm gone now, and hope you guys do good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
The Omaha Beach scene cost $12 million itself and had 1,500 people on set, including 400 crew members, 1,000 FCA and Irish Army members, and 30 amputees to portray the soldiers who had limbs blown off.
Wow.
On a budget of $7 million, Saving Private Ryan made $481.8 million at the box office and has cemented itself as one of the most important films, not just war films, important films ever made.
A couple things I wanted to point out. We mentioned that it did lose 1998 Best Picture Oscar to Shakespeare in Love. It's named one of the greatest controversies ever. Apparently, many people attributed that Harvey Weinstein, who made Shakespeare in Love, was incessantly lobbying for his movie while attacking Save It Private Ryan to make it happen, just further proving what a piece of shit he fucking is.
Yeah, he was going around talking about how inaccurate it was and it wasn't holding up. It was historically it was almost like slandering what the military was and what happened in World War II.
Right, because he was there.
Yeah,
he knows the battle of coming from a rich, probably fucking family to being a rich guy anyway.
I know.
And as opposed to all the veterans, as I'm sure we'll get to, who have seen this movie, are having PTSD in the theaters. Fuck that guy.
Further proving why awards do not mean anything. Correct. But it is worth pointing out that they were nominated for 11 and they should have won 6. I mean, this was an obvious one. And they were the highest grossing film in 1998. It was the last R-rated film to lead the yearly box office until American Sniper, which also had a military theme.
Oh.
So interesting that unfortunately the R rating is not for language and nudity and stuff like that. It's for violence. Yes. So you can understand how it's R, but we can watch this. We should all watch this.
There's also a masterpiece rule in the MPAA where if the film is actually NC-17, which this was, that's what it got, they will, because of the historical significance and the way that it was made, they will make it R to actually just release it to the general
and just
public.
put maybe a little bit of a more warning on there.
Which is it's politicky, and it kind of upsets me, but it's also, this is actually a very important movie, I think, and I think that it's warranted for people to see. I think there was also a group of kids who graffitied some memorials in a certain place, and for their punishment they made them watch Saving Private Ryan.
Wow.
Just because it's so ridiculously real.
They just clockworked orange those kids.
Yeah, exactly.
They were just
prop their eyes open.
Prop those things open. This is what you're
Well, other than sharing this podcast to your friends, following us on all social media platforms, and buying merch from confusedbreakfast.com, the best way to support this podcast, join us on Patreon. This is where you can support us directly, but you also get more. You get access to a private Discord channel, which we are going to start kind of making a little more special, doing some live videos on as we move forward. You get to vote on upcoming movies, and you get to hear weekly bonus audio episodes. If you sign up now, there's 90 hours of footage waiting for you the minute you sign up. A couple weeks ago, we had some great conversations. We talked some shit about the NFL and the Super Bowl, or the big game. Sorry.
Sorry, we're getting sued.
And after talking more about Eddie Murphy, we let Shaun explain to us why Netflix movies are so blah and overrated. So those are fun conversations. You can get all that by signing up at patreon.com/confusedbreakfast. And we got to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Cedar Ridge. Before we dive into this scene by scene, I think it's pretty important that we have this little glass of whiskey here. Something about whiskey, in my mind, brings about a somber tone. It brings about I tend to find myself reminiscing about fond memories or the past when I am having a nice whiskey, listen to a record or something. And this is such an important thing, history in the world. World War II is so incredible. And it's almost like we can't help in any way because this has already happened. We weren't there, but like sitting there, taking a moment, sipping on this delicious glass of cedar whiskey, and just like, just going, okay, I hear you, man. Like I know what you went through. I'm really
being able to have the freedom to do that. Yeah.
Thank you, Shaun. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. So consider if you need a little accompaniment to your movie watching experience, consider some Cedar Ridge. You get online, Cedar Ridge whiskey. You can buy some straight to your door. You can find some at your local distributors. You got the flagship bourbon. You got the quintessential American single malt. You got the Slipknot No. 9 collaboration.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I'm just saying. Cedar Ridge, they're in our backyard. They're one of the best whiskeys in the world, just like we think it's really cool too. Some of the I almost slipped up there. I wanted to say something that we're going to be doing here, but you just want to be pretty excited. You got to take it a little easy. We got some cool stuff coming up.
Keep them on their toes.
So please check out Cedar Ridge Whiskey, and let's dive into this movie scene by scene. But first, we got to do ratings and reviews from critics alike. AJ, what do you got for us, man?
Might be a big debate of which one's got more red in it, this movie or the tomato meter. Gross. 94%.
Oh.
94% certified fresh.
That is the 11th spot of any movie we've done, tied with Speed. It's always worth noting, just below The Evil Dead at 95%. The Evil Dead does have more blood in it.
I really enjoy that. I really like the fact that
the critics think The Evil Dead is better than Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Hell yeah, dude. Fuck yeah, dude.
Hell yeah, dude. How about this? 95% from the audiences. Damn. So pretty strong agreeance there. And this is an 8.6 on IMDb.
That's the number 3 spot of any movie we've done on IMDb. That is behind The Matrix and Goodfellas, both at an 8.7, just above T2 and Back to the Future at 8.5. So right in there.
Snap.
Number 3.
Man, as we'll get to it, at the very end, I don't know how you rate this movie anymore. Yep. We'll get there.
Yep.
Let's hear some critical reviews. This was obviously very well received by most of the critics. Almost all of them this is hundreds out of hundreds, billions out of billions. You know what I'm talking about. The Observer, Rex Reed, said, Saving Private Ryan is a masterpiece. It cements Steven Spielberg's reputation as one of the seminal filmmakers of the era. It tells a gallant story of honor and duty and courage under fire. It shows you things about war that that has never been seen on a motion picture screen. Another 100 out of 100 variety. Todd McCarthy. He said, a searing, visceral combat picture, Steven Spielberg's third World War II drama, is arguably second to none as a vivid, realistic, and bloody portrait of armed conflict.
It's kind of maybe a little important to say, too, that he did Empire of the Sun before this in 1941, which Empire of the Sun is more of like a whimsical child kind of view of World War II. 1941's obviously clearly a comedy with John Belushi, and then there's this.
Okay, yeah.
He's got like all aspects of World War II in his career. Anyway, sorry.
No, you're good. 75 out of 100. I wanted to find more from who gave it a 50 out of 100. The lowest rating I could find.
That was the lowest critical rating.
The lowest critical rating was 50 out of 100, but they didn't give me any details or facts on it, and I couldn't find it again, the full thing. So he probably pulled it down because he's like, oh no,
whoops,
I made a mistake. So I like this one though. 75 out of 100. The Globe and Mail. Liam Lacey said, a horror movie based on history, offering some of the most spectacularly brutal, viscerally intense battle scenes ever brought to a Hollywood movie. Another one said that it fell short of excellence because it doesn't so much explore the issues of human lives. It just more or less finesses them into an action movie.
Okay.
So, okay.
I don't know. I don't know.
If you go back and
I'm saying I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. If you go back and read like any 10 out of 10 from just like a viewer, it's just like basically that absolutely visceral. amazing, detailed, gore, graphic, amazing, 10 out of 10.
I like when the screen shakes when they shoot guns.
It was so real. And Spielberg's awesome.
And then you'll have
Scorsese, Spielberg.
Both start with S.
like sperm. And then you'll have like, I'm sure gun nerds be like, well, the Thompson 96 wouldn't actually fire like that. It'd have a lot more kick, actually. And then the M1 Garand, it would not. It would. Listen, they don't make that noise.
Everyone knows that the Tiger tank was not in service until 1945.
That's not a Panzer.
Everyone knows that.
They mixed up the Panzer and the Tiger.
Oh my God, you couldn't.
The color of their boots.
10 out of 40.
The color of their boots was wrong. It's historically inaccurate.
It's a little less muddy than it would have been.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I mean, like, but for real, that is about all you can do if you want to try to slag this movie down.
True.
It's about all you can do.
I want to roll through some of these 1 out of 10s though, because I think it's about the last.
Seriously?
Oh yeah,
It's not possible.
Oh yeah. Oh guys, absolutely.
Come on, give it to us.
Here, let's start with this one in 2021. Quadrophenia said, "Meh." Warning, spoilers. You think that the Americans were the nasty ones here when German soldiers are trying to surrender to the Americans and they shoot them again and again. I gave up after 20 minutes.
Okay. That's a whole opening sequence.
You mean like, you know how like whatever, like 10,000 Americans got shot.
Mm-hmm.
But I was really upset that they killed that one German guy.
Yeah, you mean probably what's based on historical accuracies and the terribleness.
Yeah,
of
I didn't
what
like
war really
I didn't like
is.
the writing.
Oh,
I didn't like the
okay.
writing.
Specifically, what he's talking about, we will get to, and it's completely the other way around. Like, we'll get to it.
1 out of 10. Very good, but was the title by Nick 90.
Ooh, I should read
This one is in 1998. Okay.
Oh wow.
I saw Saving Private Ryan, and I can say that it is a very good and realistic movie, but I didn't feel it. I was shocked from the violent scenes, okay? And the directing was marvelous from Spielberg, and all technical details were excellent, but it hadn't any emotion. I believe Titanic was much better, in my opinion. Thanks.
Oh, okay. Well,
Historical accuracies would lead me to believe.
it's kind of the same movie.
I think Titanic was more historically accurate than Saving Private Ryan. Okay, thanks.
The romance was just seeping off the screen. I felt every moment of it. I got very emotional. And there was no romance in Saving Private Ryan.
You guys remember the handprint in Titanic?
Where are the tits?
On the glass? That was really emotional.
Where are all the tits?
I'm going to give you one more here. Not even Tom Hanks can save this armpit of a movie. 1 out of 10, said Nebraska Wilbur.
Omaha.
Wow.
Reroute. Warning, spoilers. Well, this film is just plain awful. Right from the opening scene of some beach in Omaha, which I'm pretty sure is a city in Nebraska.
Okay.
And not a German-infested beach. The movie sets itself up for failure. Everyone in this movie film... movie film.
Movie dash like
No.
just movie film.
They're two separate things even in his sentence.
Okay, cool.
It's redundant. Yeah.
Movie film.
Everyone
Movie
in this
film.
movie film pretty much gets shot. Tom Hanks blows up a tank with a pistol at the end when he's dying on some bridge that nobody even cares about.
This is a failed attempt at a joke, isn't it?
I think this is a
It's
point.
a failed attempt at a joke.
No, Idris Elba maybe could even he could have even helped this boring slog of a time. Giovanni Ribsteak gets his guts blown out behind some cow. It's god awful. I can't stress enough. Don't watch this movie. Just watch Cheers instead. 1 out of
Wait, was this written?
1 out of 15. Suck fast.
When was this written?
January 3rd of 2022.
Okay, at some point it's gonna happen to where, because that sounds like someone literally has heard us talk on a podcast and wrote that last week.
Or somebody else. Yeah.
It sounds like somebody wrote that. 1 out of 15? You can't even do that.
Come on, man.
Hey, I give respect for
1 out of a million.
for bringing some light.
Giovanni Ribsteak. And then that's a deep cut Cheers reference, isn't
Yep,
it?
that
Like
is.
Ted Danson. Well done.
Well, boys, there's really no easy way to put this, so
No.
I'll just say it. Men, 50 of you are leaving on a mission. 25 of you ain't coming back. War sucks, but I'll fight for my country and I'll fight for all my brothers despite how absolutely shitty this is. Here we go.
All right.
The movie begins with an old man visiting a cemetery. It flashes back to the U.S. Army's invasion of Omaha Beach during World War II. Many die, but 2nd Ranger Battalion Captain John H. Miller takes command of a surviving group and leads them to victory. Meanwhile, the United States Department of War finds out that James Ryan of the 101st Airborne Division is the only remaining survivor of 4 brothers. They order Captain Miller to assemble a team to find him and bring him home.
So I will admit that the first time I saw this, I was really young, and then I seriously got into war movies, like very, very much so. And I would watch this over and over and over again, and I would skip every single scene that didn't have war or fighting in it. You know? Like, I mean, I had seen the movie all the way through, but when I wanted to watch a war movie, I wanted to see, like, oh, fuck, oh my God, you see that? Like, I would slow things down, slow motion, be like, how'd they do that? Because I was interested in the filmmaking aspect as well. But this one,
well, but was that more of a filmmaking thing, or did you ever have an interest in like joining the military?
Very much so.
Because you do hear a lot of people that I know that joined the military. Like, it was sort of ingrained right off the bat. You're like, that's what I want to do. I want to go fight for my country. Like, so you did have how far did you make it?
I was young, so it was literally like I wanted to be an astronaut too. And I wanted to play guitar on it. It was all those things. Like, I wanted to do all of them.
But you never, as you got older, ever considered going down to like a recruiter's office and saying, hey, I'd like to talk to you about this?
No, that's my brother. He does that.
Nice.
That makes sense.
What about you? Did you ever?
Want to be a soldier?
Do you ever consider it, like, pay for college, like fight for your country?
I think part of it becomes what we've all experienced is you want to be the rock star, but you don't want to go through the trials and tribulations of becoming a rock star. Especially when you're a kid, you only see where you're at and the end result of being a badass, right? And that probably crossed my mind at some point, but then you're just like, that looks terrifying. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't want to do that.
We already said it, but unbelievable props to anyone out there who's listening. And I hate saying thank you for your service. Like, I've even heard some friends of mine being like, dude, just don't say that. Like, it's dumb, Yeah. But like, truly, like, thank you for what you did.
I do think it's extremely important. Like, it's like an ex-military or veteran calling in or something. That's all I can say.
Right.
That's all. I don't know what you went through. I don't know what happened to you. But
thank you for being braver than I ever have been.
It is a huge decision, and you've made that decision selflessly.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's it's something I can't do. I don't think I could go through that. And those people that do put themselves out there for that, it's a huge thing.
This movie's credited with maybe bringing into that or revitalizing the thought that this was the greatest generation. And I feel that with this actor, this old man walking up.
Oh man,
like, these guys, like, they no questions asked. They were scared shitless, but they're like, we got to go do this. Yeah. This is World War II. Let's talk about, what do you know about World War II? Because I wish, and I apologize to anybody out there that is a World War II historian, because
we're going to get a lot of things wrong.
Yeah. I mean, we are not historians, but
no.
But World War II, like, this movie made me want to almost start like learning more about it.
Absolutely.
Here's a couple of things. It was the deadliest military conflict in history. An estimated of 70 to 85 million people perished, whether that was in battle or like civilian casualties or things that happened after the war because of the war. That's 3% of the human population at that time in 1940. The U.S. only lost 419,000. In the grand scheme of things, that was not as many as Soviet Union lost 20 million. Is what they were saying. So, like, it was tragic for the U.S., but it was even more tragic for other countries. It started on September 1st, 1939, with the German invasion of Poland. The U.S. entered the war on December 7th, 1941, 2 years later after Pearl Harbor. German armed forces surrendered unconditionally to the Allies on May 7th, 1945. World War II ended on September 2nd, 1945 in the Pacific Theater with the official signing of surrender documents by Japan. 6 years.
Yeah.
6 years, 85 million people. Like, what?
3%, you might not think is a lot, but that's a shit ton.
That's all you're doing is like trying to make it less intense by saying 3%.
Yes.
That many people is unreal. Like it's just such a scary thought, of what was happening, and this is apparently a very accurate portrayal of when they hit that beach.
I will say too, I'm not a big fan of war.
No,
I don't agree with it. Not necessarily like a pacifist, but I do think this is like maybe one of the most justified wars because there is actually true evil trying to be defeated. We were trying to defeat.
It sucks that you have to take war to do that, but that's what else are you going to do?
Yeah.
You have to do it, man.
So they get to this beach. It's just, I don't understand. I can't comprehend the fear of being on one of them boats and going and like seeing explosions in the water and maybe not even knowing what to expect. Like I don't know what they were briefed on.
They couldn't even like see over the gates of that thing, so they don't even know what they're walking into or arriving into.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did they call it? Basically, the boat when that thing drops down, they called it something very brutal. Just get out of those kill holes is basically what they said. Like, get out of those, find a way out. You need to get out of there.
Watching like the making of this, and there was an actual veteran who said that like Spielberg didn't want to do any scenes really of like the German perspective of that, but he felt it was extremely important just to see the gravity of how much these people were fish in a barrel to these Germans. And the veteran was saying that once those things dropped, some people got out, but some of them. Nobody. They were all just mowed down.
And there is a scene where one of them opens.
Yes.
I think you see it from the top of the German and just everyone in there. Done.
Yeah.
Not even a chance.
Not even.
This makes it, you wonder how the hell they even won this. Like, how did they even capture this beach? It's impossible.
Yeah.
But based on what was actually happening, you're like, how did this even happen?
Well, just like even people on the beach in the movie are just being like, give us a fucking chance.
Yeah, that's right.
Fuck.
Dude, it's wild, man. Like, and I think about it. We have this. The whole introduction of this movie is like following this man to these graves, and he sees these graves. His family's behind him, and then we go right into this, and you're just like, all I could literally think of is just be like, boy, that escalated quickly. Wow. We just went from a gorgeous day with the family, and he's coming back to pay his respects, and now we are just back and thrown into this.
Isn't that
wow?
That's a metaphor for what life was at that point.
Yeah.
Life's great. We're having a good time. I just graduated high school. I'm gonna get married. I got this gal. I'm on Omaha Beach.
Yeah.
Omaha Beach, man.
Oh, great. Like that is what happened.
Yeah. It's like, it's just the point of, how did they get this done? And then you see it's because, 1, 2, 3, 4, however many of those guys said, we are either moving up or we're dying here.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen.
Like, a lot of people were just like, fuck this, I'm not dying here.
I'm not going out there. We're pinned down. It's like, well, you can stay here. And there's a line that Tom Hanks, Miller says. He says, this entire beach, every inch of this has been pinned. You move or you die.
Ugh.
And that was it.
Well, did you see that's very iconic, those like crazy looking cross shapes that are like outlining the beach,
right,
those metal things? I always thought that was just a barrier to like keep them from getting on the beach. But apparently, and again, I'm so wrong. I'm so sorry if this is wrong, but apparently tide was low that day. But normally tide is higher and you can't see those things. So the boats were meant to come to shore and then just get ripped apart by those things. Like it'd come to shore, tide would lower, and that one of those metal things would come into the bottom of the boat and rip it open. And just be like, nope, you can't use that boat
now
anymore.
You're done.
Yeah. So that's apparently but those add to the visual stunningness of that. And the closest I could ever feel in my life that I'd ever, like when they start running, just going, well, I'm going to run. And I know there's a million bombs and there's a million bullets and I'm just going to go. I was on a beach one time, a long stretch of beach from the water to where the hotel was, and a storm popped up really quick. And you could feel like the static electricity going up, and like hairs on your arm raising, and you're like, oh my God. You know, like you can sense when lightning's going to strike nearby you, especially when you're on a beach, there's water underneath all that sand. We started running, and that's the way I felt, was just like, I'm just going to run, and fuck, I hope I'm going in the right direction. Like, because
you don't
like,
know what's going to hit you. You
have
don't know
no
what's
clue
going to
where
happen.
it's coming from. And that's not even close to what was going on here. But that's the closest I could ever feel to that.
It's I think the way, speaking of like the technical aspects of the way this is filmed, it's like I love that it's all handheld. It's all extremely personal and crazy. You know, you get Tom Hanks's kind of a shell-shocked slow motion, but it's all jittery. You know, I like that aspect about it. And I don't know. We talk about it all the time. We're like, just one shot must have taken hours to get right.
Didn't you say it was like 22 days just on this scene or something like that?
Yeah, 22 days. Yeah, something like that. And even like a lot of it was kind of run and gun, to be honest. And
yeah, he didn't storyboard it or something, right?
No, at all.
And Spielberg shot a lot of it by hand himself.
Yeah,
actually, in these scenes, he held the camera for a lot of it to get the right effect that he wanted. Even
he employed. He had like drills attached to the camera.
Yeah.
For like when bobs are going off, he would Janusz Kaminski would be like, "Okay, it's drill time, pretty much, tool time."
And so they would squeeze it real quick, and it would shake the camera.
It would turn that on, and it would shake when a bomb went off.
What?
And he's like, "I thought I invented that." Like,
yeah.
Actually, it was invented a little earlier, and there's actual mechanisms for the camera that can do that.
So you don't need to put
so
drills
you
on
don't
them.
need to put actual
we didn't need to do that. No, that's all right. You know what? I think it was good.
Yeah.
Is Tom Hanks believable in every role he plays?
Yeah.
I fully believe that he is Captain Miller.
Yeah.
And he just immediately, I'm like, I'm following you. Like, I'm going. Where do you want me to go? What do I need? He's like the perfect leader in this. Like, I would follow him. He's like, Captain, what do we do? Like, tell me what to do. I will follow you.
Yeah.
Because he's just so, that shell shock moment's so interesting because he just like, he doesn't know what's going on, and he has to slowly just like come out of it and just go, okay, I can do this. I've been in these situations before. I can figure this out. And it just, boom, we're into war. It was incredibly shot. And I believe Tom Hanks in everything he does.
Absolutely. I do also, because as he's getting shell-shocked, he's seeing like, you know, he's kind of zeroing in on a lot of like the violence going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people will be like, why do you need to show someone with his guts out crying for his mom? It's like, I think you definitely need to show that, because that was probably what it's fucking like, you know? And then they get to, well, can we talk about Tom Sizemore too?
Yeah.
He seems stoked about all this. Like, to be honest.
They feel like they have a pretty big history together. Those two war guys, like they've probably been through some shit before.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I like their camaraderie a lot, and I like when they get to like kind of like the hill, and they need the Bangalores to like clear the fencing. It's just so intense, the shots, and the sound is fucking incredible. Like when the like all the bombs go off and the bullets are whizzing by, and they finally get to some cover. And he's like, if your mother saw you doing that, she'd cry herself to sleep or something. Like, I thought you were my mother.
You were my mother.
I love like that kind of thing. But then he also gets this plan to get some covering fire on those MGs up there.
Yeah.
And sends his men out. I was like, you go. But yeah, you're right. It's a very, I will follow him anywhere.
He's the guy at
he
this
gets
point.
it done.
Did you catch that Wonder scene that was about 60 seconds long on the beach? The shore party, when they made it to the little bunker, and he kept going back over his right shoulder and saying, shore party, tell him. And then he'd go back to them. Then he'd go, shore party, now tell him, we do not have the beach. Then he'd go back, and then he comes back, and dude's blown up.
Fucking hole in his face.
Yeah, and then he comes back, and then the radio gets shot through. It's like that. I had never noticed that little Wonder scene. That had to take forever to figure that out and film that shit.
I mean, and all the things that you just don't have control over. If there are these explosions going off, you know, you don't say, hey, make an explosion happen here, make sure dirt kind of flies
right
over
after
this
he
way,
says,
and then do this.
Hit the button.
This is what it is. Here's that. That again, like you said, he didn't storyboard any of this. It was meant to have, keep them under pressure.
Pure chaos.
In this pure chaos. Somebody mentioned in a review about how Tom Hanks was. What a terrible casting for a hero type and whatnot. And you're like, it made me think about it in the idea of, like, he's not trying to be a hero.
No.
He's trying to move things along and get the mission done. You know, he says it all the time. It's like, this isn't part of the mission, Cap. He's like, our mission's to win the war.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we have to move forward. Like, and going back to, as you're saying, we're going to follow this person. You know, this is the person that we're going to follow in these situations.
Yeah, we've said it in movies we've covered with Tom Hanks before. He's an everyman.
Yeah.
And he's an everyman, but he's a leader.
Right.
You know, and yeah, you're right. It's to have a leader like that, if in a situation like that, I have to believe that it would kind of wash away a little bit of my fear, a little bit of it. And like,
enough to get your feet moving, right?
Make me a little more brave and maybe go out and start covering fire. Yeah, I would follow him anywhere.
Yep.
Dude, that some moments in this movie just make me go, oh, like when they finally take over the bunker,
right?
They throw the bomb in there, they flame throw it, and the German guys start falling out of the thing, and they're like, no, don't shoot them, let them burn.
Let them burn.
And you can take that stance on this movie. There are rules of law, like laws of the military and war,
yep.
where you don't shoot the medics. If somebody puts their hands up, you take them as a prisoner. But you cannot hold those standards. You cannot assume that these guys have to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like what they just went through. You're telling me, like, dude, some guy cuts you off driving to work, and you're ready to fucking crash him and shoot him in the face. Like, you telling me that some guy just shot a machine gun at you for 60 minutes, and you're gonna be like, "Come here, guy. We're gonna take you.
It's all good.
It's all good, man. We're gonna take you to prison. It's gonna be just fine for you." You cannot hold them to that.
It's like, oh, we just got done going through this entire thing we just did on the beach and everything I just saw, and I had to like basically do what I had to do to make sure I got to where I am right now in the condition that I'm in. Mm-hmm. Hopefully it's okay. But now I have to stop doing that so I can good. Oh, you're surrounding.
No, he had his hands up.
Good. Yeah, come on, let's do that.
Come on out, Bam.
There's this like shut off thing that, doesn't happen.
This is war, man.
Yeah, exactly. I was watching something about they were running people. It was a military exercise, and they were running these like civilians and celebrities through this thing, and it was a fight or flight on-off switch test where they basically say, your objective right now, this is the mission, come up this hill with us. It's kind of a big hill, right? Come up this hill, kind of exhausts you, get your blood pumping, your like legs are jello. There's the guy. You see the guy in all the red like body armor, like fight armor, mixed martial arts armor. There's your objective. Take him down. You need to engage him hand to hand. Do whatever you can. Take him down. And then when we say stop, you have to stop. Some people could not shut it off.
Oh, wow.
And so they're exhausted. Their brain's racing. They don't know if they should engage. They don't understand.
That chemical balance is already taken over.
And they're like, I don't know where to stop or how to hit him or do this. And some people engage, and like only like one or two people could do it the right way to shut down. You know what I mean? And that's just a drill.
Yeah. This is real life.
I mean, it's such a high expectation of a war situation.
Once they do take this over, and you do see them, like some of the Germans surrender, and they do take them prisoner, and they kind of mention later, like, well, we took however many POWs, whatever. But then there's those two dudes who are yelling in a different language. Who have their hands up. And they shoot them, and they're like, "Oh, look, what do you say? What do you say? Oh, look, I washed for supper." Those are actually Czech POWs of the Germans. They would force them into their ranks and force them to fight.
And they're trying to say, "No, we don't want to be here. We were captured."
I think it was something to the effect of, "We're Czech. We're not German. We didn't hurt anybody.
We didn't kill anyone." Yeah. Almost like distractions, red herrings to and to fill their ranks essentially. Yeah. What they call it, the Ost or something, the Eastern, Eastern liberated army for the Germans, and that's what they did with them. They took these Czech and Polish people and put them into their ranks.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying you cannot hold people to modern to rules and standards of this. Like, it sucks that they did kill those guys, but it also
it
sucks
is.
that 10,000 people just got killed on the beach.
Yeah,
Like,
and
it's pure chaos.
Yeah.
Again, it just goes back to, the very, very unfortunate setting that it was. Yes.
do you feel this juxtaposition, like maybe they're trying to make it feel like, so we now switch back to the United States, and we're like, we got all these generals that are in their safe houses, and this, you get a virtually unknown Bryan Cranston walking in the room.
I know, right?
Whoa, Bryan Cranston.
Missing a limb.
Yeah, right. But do you feel, do you like this? Because like I do think this is important, that we have to understand why this character needs to be saved.
Yeah.
But do you see what they're trying to do here? They're trying to make you feel like, okay, these Washington, D.C. fat cats don't even have a grasp on what's going on over there. Is that what they're trying to say? Or are they just trying to show the separating? Because I can see a lot of people, and we'll talk about it, a lot of people are like, well, why? Why save Ryan? Who cares? But like, I get it, but I'm wondering if they're trying to make you like hate the government for putting these guys into that situation.
I don't think that there's an overt lens to that, but I do feel that way. I do. Just because it's my own sort of take on it, where I'll just say it now, my most punchable face is warmongers in the military-industrial complex.
Just an overall over-encompassing.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
If we were on a train to go punch a face, I'm on board.
I just think that the war machine is a real thing, and I think that, like I said about this war, I think it was extremely justified. I think there's plenty of other battles or incursions. I'm probably saying that wrong. Or other wars, excursions. Thank you.
That's not right either.
Yes.
Incursions of kind, yes.
That are just completely pointless.
Yeah.
And it's I don't want to get political, but I don't agree with a lot of it, and I think that it's a very nefarious thing that is used to, be the police of the world.
I think this scene, number one, it somehow it gives. I think this scene where it cuts back to all those women typing up these letters of men who have passed. They're victims of the war at this point, right? And so they're typing this up, and they're typing it in the voices of their commanding officers. And I think there's something that's very upsetting about that, but at the same time, like as we've said before, how many of these men are dying, and we need to be able to keep up with this, and need to be able to get this information to their families, and generals aren't sitting there writing handwritten letters.
Right. They're eating steaks and going out and having some nice whiskey.
Exactly.
And just enjoying life.
And they're doing this thing, right? And then I think it shows this chain of command,
right?
Very distinct chain of command. The head woman in there goes to this guy, then that guy goes to Bryan Cranston, and Bryan Cranston goes to the general. They convene, and you have the one guy who's just like, we can't expect. There's a needle in a haystack, needle in a needle stack that you're trying to find this one guy. And I think it is a justified thing, and the general, I think the biggest part of this, in reference to your question, is that the guy at the top does have genuine feelings about this, and is human after all. We need to make sure that this guy comes out.
We can't do anything over there right now. Like, that is in full, but what we can do is try to keep our humanity and try to at least save the grief of one family, like the mega unbeknownst grief of losing all your sons. Like, we can do that.
Yeah.
We can at least try to make a difference.
And I think that goes on down to the soldiers as well. And like, was it Mellish?
Mellish.
The guy's got Brooklyn on his jacket. Is that his name?
Oh no, that's Reiben.
I like his character so much through this whole thing, because I would get conflicted about that as well. But it is also like I'm saying that humanity needs to be with us, and if we can save one person, as it's said through the movie, then let's do it. That's in that meeting with those generals and stuff. There's Dale Dye, who was the military advisor for this movie, and like made the cast and crew go through pretty much a boot camp, and he would yell at them. He'd be like the second director pretty much, as Steven Spielberg would give them blocking directions pretty much, and he would give them like get the fuck down directions, and he would call them turds and shit. He's in that scene.
Cool.
He's the guy with the white mustache and white hair, and
Is he the main one, or is he the secondary?
One of the secondaries.
Okay.
He's like
he's probably the tough guy one.
Yes, you're right.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, before we move on to scene 2, just a quick reminder of this reminded me whenever I hear about the Sullivan brothers, that is the famous story of the Waterloo, Iowa boys that all sank on that ship. There's a band called Caroline Spine that wrote the song Sullivan. That was kind of famous, and that came out on an album that I actually thought was pretty good in 1997 about the Sullivan brothers that kind of brought that back into pop culture, and this movie came out in 98.
Oh, wow.
Kind of an interesting, I didn't realize the timing of that, but go back and listen to that album. It's actually not that bad. It's very good. For 97.
You know, not too bad, guys. Not too bad.
So scene 2, the group tracks Ryan to a nearby town. Caparzo is killed by a German sniper while trying to rescue a young girl. Mourning their friend, the men grow resentful at being forced to risk their lives for one man. They later find James Ryan, but realize he's the wrong man with the same name.
I do want to say one thing of the scene before this when they go to Iowa. There's some bean fields probably. There's that shot of the mother like in the kitchen doing dishes, and it's the reflection of the car coming down the gravel driveway. Such a good shot.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It's an amazing shot. It's I really do like those shots inside the house, outside the house, and I just think about that car's coming for one reason.
Yeah.
And she knows exactly why.
It's for
She
one
probably
reason.
She probably saw the same car a couple weeks ago go into their neighbor's house.
It's not a car coming to tell her, hey, your sons are doing great.
They're having a good
They
time over
completed a
there, and
bunch of
they're all
missions.
together.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in like A League of Their Own. That guy with the telegram comes for one reason, to give bad news.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why those people that car's coming down the road.
As soon as that priest gets out, she definitely knows. You
Yeah.
know? I will say too that Janusz Kaminski's cinematography throughout this, it's very bland. He took like a lot of the filters off lenses to
And
make
like
it
the saturation levels lower too.
saturation way down. It was actually very, very bright and colorful. And then like the juxtaposition of going to the U.S., he wanted that to be very bright and colorful.
Dude, it was. You're right.
Yeah.
And then when you go back to the actual war, it's very dim and dingy. And I think for like TV releases, like the TV cut of this movie, they actually took that saturation away because people were complaining that their TVs might be weirdly out
Why
of
is
order.
this scene all weird?
Yeah, and so they brought the color all back in. It's like you made it all wrong, and then now the blood's extremely like in your face.
Warner Brothers, yes, I'll hold. I just have a question about the saturation of your movie.
Excuse me,
on
Comcast, you got Private Ryan streaming here on
TBS.
I say streaming.
Yes.
Coming through on TBS, and I knocked it over to AMC. It's doing the same damn thing. I adjusted my color to accommodate it, and then it switched scenes, and it was bad again.
Yes, ma'am. We will get a technician out from Warner Brothers right away to bumfuck Iowa.
Well, I appreciate that because they mention Iowa in this movie, and that doesn't happen a lot.
We
so
understand.
I just really wanted to watch this movie where they talk about Iowa.
No, we really want to portray it accurately. We want to get you watching.
Man, I suggest watching Field of Dreams while you wait.
That's over on TNT right after Shawshank Redemption.
Can I ask you guys a question? Okay, you are in the military. You are in this crew of people. Here's your options. You're already there. You just survived D-Day. You can say yes to this crazy mission that you don't know if you're going to succeed. Chances of dying are pretty high. But if you go do this for like, let's call it a week, you get to go home.
Yeah.
Or you can say no, you stay there, you get sent on to your next mission or whatever. You got 7 more months of trying to survive before you get to go home. What are you doing?
I think if I want to be debriefed on the mission and knowing that this is the mission, I think I'm in that position already, man. Either I die doing something I believe in, trying to save another human being, or I survive and we save this guy and I go home. I'm doing it.
So you're saying I'm taking the chance. I'm either heading home or I'm dying.
Yep.
Can I ask real quick? Was that presented to them like this?
It
No.
never
Does it
was,
ever
but
feel that way?
it feels implied that they all, at one point it goes, well, we all get to go home or something like that, because we succeeded at this mission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe Captain Miller had filled them in on that because I think he's the only one that, is debriefed on the mission and is like, this is the one. I have one more for you. And I think the other ones are just like they have to follow his command because he recruited them.
See, and this is what I think, personal opinion, outside looking in and, my initial reaction is, yeah, I would go on the mission because if it meant what you're saying, a week going through that, and especially after what I just went through to get here.
You already made it through that, bro.
If I have to endure that for 7 more months or I can go after we get this done, I'm going to take that opportunity.
It's like a red pill, blue pill kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
I don't know. I'll tell you what I definitely am. I don't know what I'm picking, but I'm definitely on the side of complaining, being like, why the fuck this guy?
See, this is
why this motherfucker? Why does he get to be the one that we all have to go risk our lives for? That is how I'm going to be be talking about it.
Yeah. Ryben, this is how you gripe. Continue, Jackson.
The whole conversation, man, is
Love
so
that
good.
shit.
And I can't believe I'm a fucking idiot skipping over it as a kid. Because this is like it. This is the camaraderie that I think Spielberg wanted to get across, and it's the best. Like, I love hearing these guys talk, and like I think, one, he recruits Upham, who's the foreign language guy.
Yeah.
Huge mistake.
Big mistake.
Vin Diesel, he says, or like Upham saying like about brotherhood, and like he's like, what do you know about brotherhood or family?
What do you know about family? Here,
Get him a Corona.
you can have any coffee you want as long as it's Corona.
Okay, wait a minute.
You can
So
have any
is that
apple.
Is that Dominic Toretto's grandpa?
I think so.
Oh, 100%.
Change their name
Dominic
from
Toretto does not come from a family of soft men.
no.
Very hard men.
First of all, let's talk about Vin Diesel. Do you know what his real name is?
Vincent,
No.
I think it's like
Carl.
Dave Brubeck. No, that's a different person.
Oh, okay.
His real name is Mark Sinclair.
Oh, okay.
That he already at this point in his life,
I know someone named Mark
Sinclair.
he hasn't done shit, and he's already like, someday, I got to change my name now.
Yeah.
Like, I got to make sure I got some dope ass name so that when I eventually get some weird franchise, I'll be ready. So he was already Vin Diesel. He was paid $100K for the role because he was still a little known actor, like a nobody.
You know what he did do? He made his own like couple short films that he produced, directed, and starred in all on his own. Like he sang in them. He's a completely different person from Dominic Toretto in these like little short films that he did, and they were all just a reel to send out to like producers and be like, "Hey, I'm an actor. Get me in one of your movies." And Spielberg saw it and he's like, "That dude's great."
He wrote the part. He wrote the part for him.
Really?
Super cool.
Oh my!
Yeah, he said he saw Diesel's independent film Strays.
Yes,
is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
The Strays.
Nice.
Like, dude. So Vinny D got his start by doing dog and pony shows for Spielberg. Gotcha.
And he already had the wherewithal.
Yeah.
to be like, I gotta have a cool name.
I love that.
Before we got into this scene, though,
Yeah.
I think one of the most beautiful cinematic moments is that rain transition. Like, it's so unnoticeable because it's so good. You don't really realize how cool this is. The rain starts.
Hitting puddles and leaves.
And then it becomes them walking. Like, it's
like, well, then it's like little pops of guns in the background, little bombs going off, and it's seamless, and it's so good.
There are so many transitions as the movie. The intro one from the old man's eyes.
Yeah.
As that zooms in and fades into war, like there are so many amazing cinematic moments in this movie.
There's a couple of things. Again, I sorry, I know we keep kind of pulling each other back a little bit here, but there's just a couple of points that I thought was a really good point of when they do finally get up there, right after they've kind of they're king of the hill at this point, right?
Yeah.
Before everyone else is rolling in, there's a moment where Mike says to Miller, he says, "Man, isn't that a view?" or something like that. What a view. And you never see the view. You only see his eyes. It doesn't ever show what they're looking at. And then it goes down to scenes of the aftermath, but you never see the view. Then after that, Miller is going up and he meets with that commander, I think is a major.
Yeah.
And he goes up there and he's seeing them and they're eating these like, well, maybe one of the best looking sandwiches I've ever freaking seen in a freaking movie. That's sitting on this like plate, and then this pot of coffee that is just this dark, rich, just oh man, that coffee must be able to give life to anyone. And he's just watching it. And then I keep thinking about how Miller is just on the hunt for coffee the rest of the movie.
Yeah, I like that.
He's just constantly looking for coffee. And like he saw that and just wants it so bad.
Because as we see, he's a teacher. That's probably the lifeblood of teachers, you know.
I mean, it's like it could raise some of his comrades probably at this point, man. And I just think about that, them going through. And then, but yeah, like I say, moving right up to the rain and getting to that little town, right?
Even before that, one more thing.
Do it.
John Williams' score. As we said before, we feel like his music is in our veins. We feel like it's just perfect every time his music comes on. And when we do get done with the D-Day Omaha Beach battle, it does kind of come in, you know? And I think that Jurassic Park score sounds like dinosaurs to me. Like it sounds epic and sounds whimsical. Jaws, obviously, it sounds like a shark is underneath you in the water you can't see. And this sounds like honor. This sounds like emotion. This sounds like an American flag waving in the wind. So I don't know how he does it.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
He knows what is going to go with certain scenes. He knows that American military is led by a trumpet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just like, yeah.
Oh,
can't put an electric guitar in
No.
there, you know, like
I can't put.
we got Hendrix for this movie.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
We got a fresh cut of Hendrix's
Star Spangled
Banner.
All on the watchtower.
The worst rendition ever, by the way. No problem.
It's not okay. It's overrated. But yeah. So I.
Who are you looking at?
Nothing.
Okay, fine.
No one.
What's wrong, Shaun?
Hey, would you rather hear Jimi Hendrix play the Star Spangled Banner on LSD in front of 100,000 smelly hippies, or would you rather hear John Williams score something to an American flag?
So we get to the scene.
Well, answer the fucking question, bro.
No,
Hey, man, you're doing it out of context, okay?
So speaking of John Williams and the score moments.
You just got done talking about how good John Williams was. I was trying to set him up.
Yeah, so here we go. So we're finally getting to the Paul Giamatti scene.
Yeah.
So there's the music in the more quiet moments where there's more relaxed moments. In the battle scenes, there's never music. It's just scenes or like sounds of battle.
That is the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, right?
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, moving into the scene, you even see people like Caparzo picking at the apples.
Mm-hmm.
They're always looking for something to drink, something to eat. They always need.
You don't have to show
canteen. That. You know, you don't have to show that, but it's just like you gotta. It makes me think about how probably depleted these guys are, and still going through this. You know that they have what's probably a one-track brain right now to get the mission done, and like I'm not going to stop, but I am going to take a second to see if there's an apple that's worth pecking at. Those little things I think are super important to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
This is 55 minutes in the movie before we see the face of an enemy. Like, think about on the beach. All we were seeing was these weird, kind of like in Top Gun, like you just see the black figure, you know, in the airplane. It's not a country, it's just an enemy. That sniper in the tower is the first time we actually see that is an enemy. You know, and that's 55 minutes in, which is intense. Thinking that this movie started right from the start, kind of, you know?
Very, very fitting that Vin Diesel, Caparzo, would go grab that child because family.
Because it reminds him of family.
So
it reminds me of my niece.
Who's a part of my
family.
But you can have anything you want as long as it's Corona.
Hey! Take this letter, put it in a Corona bottle.
He's dying on the ground.
Well, he shouldn't have done why did he feel the need to do this?
I don't know. And yeah, well, in what you're saying, where he's grabbing apples and like I'm gonna try and find these guys are also. I mean, it's not necessarily a vacation, but they're in a different country. Mm-hmm. You know, they've never been here before. So they also are like kind of like, oh, well, that's cool.
They're
like
looking
this.
for the bloomin' onion at Outback.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
They're looking for the good wine shack.
Yeah. Gotcha.
In a way, but it is very, very creepy. The shot, and then he falls on the piano, and it gives that like that horror movie piano strike. You know, it's cool to me, but it's very creepy.
Did you hear what they did? Apparently, the eye makeup was inside the scope so that he could look, and then the minute he put his eye into the scope, the prosthetic attached itself to his eye,
okay.
so that when the gun popped away, it looked like there was a gunshot in his head.
Yeah,
super practical.
Exactly, and it's like they were able to do this without having to do a lot of additional After Effects, special effects.
Which is, I think, what made it work.
100%. And they just used like some pistons and air gasket, that released to finish it out. And it's just like incredibly practical, it just looked great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this scene is so important because you are now fully in on the fuck Ryan thing. Mm-hmm. Like, you're just like, fuck this guy. He literally just got our friend killed. Mm-hmm. And who was it? Ryman says, fuck Ryan.
Ryan.
And like, you are on team fuck Ryan. I am at this point in the movie, like, who the fuck is this guy?
There's a point, and going back to Dale Dye, is that his name? Mm-hmm. He took everyone through boot camp. He put them through, I don't know, it was like 6, 7, some days, basically a week of this pretty intense training. And he put them through the ringer. Mm-hmm. Like, most of these guys of the core cast wanted to quit at one point or another, right? But Tom Hanks is like the only one who didn't want to quit, right?
And they're like, well.
So, and because he didn't quit, other people stuck it out.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody went through this except Matt Dillon.
So Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
Matt Dillon.
Damn it.
Matt Damon.
Cut cameras. Okay, do it again. Matt Damon.
Except Matt Damon.
Which created that. They do that so often in movies.
They went through that horrible bullshit, and he did not.
It's one of my favorite pieces of cinema, like trivia or like, like little nuggets of knowledge, is like they put these people to create a mindset outside of this movie, even to make sure that there's at least some little bit of resentment.
Just a little subconscious built-in
towards
stuff.
that guy.
And
right?
You buy it.
And 100%. Fuck that guy.
Fuck Ryan.
Why are we doing this?
I want to say, too, every location that they go to has like a kind of not necessarily like a B actor, but an actor you notice.
Dude,
like Mike Farina. I think it's Mike Farina.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He was earlier. He was when the U.S. government.
Dennis Farina. And then you get Paul Giamatti in this scene, and then you get Ted Danson.
I will watch Paul Giamatti in anything.
Absolutely.
He's one of those actors for me. Then you get Ted Danson. That's a military man.
Good Lord.
That chin,
what a jawline.
That chin could take on Hitler's Germany.
I want to say one of my favorite lines that Paul Giamatti has. Someone's like, "Who's on the horn?" He's like, "Oh, it's Dogwood Dusseldorf, our friendly neighborhood morale officer."
Oh yeah,
the way he says shit, our friendly neighborhood morale officer.
Yeah, he sounds like he's announcing the big game, and here comes him out.
I love Paul Giamatti, but I do feel like it doesn't fit in this movie though.
See,
his weirdness and his kind of quirkiness is like, whoa, dude, hold on. We're like in a serious situation here. This is weird.
It seems like for me, and this is why I love the podcast, because I love that we get to like almost disagree on these little things, because I love it so much actually, because I feel like this guy, he's been here longer than any of them.
So he just almost is like, whatever.
Yep.
or he, they've been dropped in. Everyone's been scattered around. We've been dealing with what we got to deal with. You're either along for the ride or you're not, pal. I'll show you how to get through if you want to know.
He's in that frame of mind where it's like,
sorry, his ankles is hilarious. He's like, oh God, he's been doing this a while or something, or he's been through other conflicts. I don't know. But that is what makes it so believable to me. That's like, my ankles, oh God.
I think he's in that frame of mind where he's like been through so much shit. He's like, well, you just got to laugh. And
who are you if you can't have a good laugh?
I think that's pretty for real, and even in a life and death situation, I think it's like, well, fuck.
I know I've got a spade on my helmet, but I feel like I've been dealing with jokers all day.
Like he's just a foreman on a line of workers in real life, and he's just trying to get through the day so he can get to his whiskey, you know?
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, but I'm also, it slightly takes me out of the moment.
Did it?
And then he's like, I'm going to sit down. Oop, I fell backwards. Oh, there's soldiers behind the wall.
Missing the cartoon whistle.
Yeah, like that just for the first, we're an hour and 15 minutes in this movie, and I went, oh. Like I came out of it for a second.
There's a freeze frame as he knocks down the wall. He's like,
Paul.
Yeah, like that was for me just sort of like, there's a few, I don't think this is a perfect movie. It's damn close, but there are moments like that where I'm like, yeah, that was a weird choice. So, but that's like you said, it's my personal thought. And
exactly.
You could totally be like, I fucking loved it.
And did it bring you back out of it once you saw that there was a team of Germans
of course.
there, and they're all just basically like stand down at this point?
Then it was immediately like, oh, okay, cool. I'm back in.
Stand down, stand off. Like it's just intense.
The only thing that might maybe break me out of it is Nathan Fillion.
Oh, dude.
So
can't
he's
wait.
the wrong Ryan.
Yeah.
And it doesn't actually. That's just kind of a joke. But this is kind of more of a lighthearted moment where it's just like he's the wrong guy. He's like, well, are my brothers okay? I'm sure they're fine. Like, they're back
they're
at
in
home.
School or something.
It's all been just a little misunderstanding.
But you do see the guys that were all fuck Ryan all of a sudden were like, oh shit, okay, this is a real guy.
Yeah.
Okay, man, he's really taking this tough. So maybe we did make the right choice here. And then it's just like, oh, it's not even the fucking right Ryan. What the hell?
I know. As they're making their way through like this town and everything to find him. I thought the thunder flash thing was cool.
It's super cool.
I thought that was super cool. I did read a little bit about that if they did this, it was actually reversed though. So they would actually call flash.
Well, yeah, because flash thunder.
Because you see the flash and then you hear thunder. But do you know why they did it that way? Why it was reversed? Is because in German there's really no pronunciation of th, thunder.
Oh.
So if they yell flash and a German tried to say thunder, it would come out completely wrong. You just gave yourself away.
Oh, cool.
And that was why they were doing that. But they reversed it in this, I don't know, probably because of some
whatever.
Yeah. But either way, I thought that was super cool.
That is really cool.
They end up coming through though, and you get that Nathan Fillion thing. And I love how he's like running up. I told you he was an asshole. I love that these guys know the difference between like a good soldier and an asshole.
Yeah, a grunt and just like an up-em, pretty much.
Yeah, like from the moment he's running up and he's just.
Did you call for me, sir?
Yes, sir.
It's very funny to me, but I don't know if there's any good way to say this. Your brothers are dead. It's like,
what?
That can't be. They're still in grammar school. It's like, God damn it.
Well, let's move this along.
Let's do it.
Scene 3. That evening, the men rest in a chapel. The next morning, they are directed to a rallying point where the 101st Airborne might be after landing off course. After a poor display of humanity from some of the men, they get information that Ryan was reassigned to defend a vital bridge in Rommel.
This whole church scene completely, if the camaraderie of the last scene of them marching to, were they at Rommel?
They're going to go to Rommel.
They're going to Rommel.
Rommel's the final scene.
Right. Okay.
I don't remember the exact town names.
So yeah, they were marching to go to Paul Giamatti. I'll say. I love the camaraderie of that, but this really gets me emotionally invested in all of their lives.
Right.
Like I really, like I say it a lot. You feel a part of the group at this point, and I like what. Tom Hanks' Captain Miller's character, Captain Miller says, I lost 94 men under his command, but saved 10 times that. Just trying to rationalize that is an impossible feat to a normal person, I would imagine.
Yeah, I don't know how you would.
I just can't. And then you see, like, they're kind of joking before that, and Tom Sizemore really gets kind of serious as he's saying this. And you know that Captain Miller doesn't like reveal a lot about his life at all, and so he's revealing a little bit about his
just a little bit,
a little bit about his job here in the military. And I would never be able to understand that undertaking at all.
I don't think you really can. You know, you don't know until you're there, and you're a commander of that many men. And you're going into a situation like this. You're not going to save them all. Like, that's somehow you have to come to that realization beforehand, I imagine. And then, like you just said, he has to try to rationalize it. That's why he has to say somehow, this is why I can do what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, what's the point? You know, why am I even here?
I think Barry Pepper Jackson is my favorite.
Yeah.
Same.
I just think he's such a badass in this movie, and I love how he just like falls asleep. And that's basically my wife. My wife can sleep absolutely anywhere under any circumstance, and everybody points that out like, God damn, like you're so jealous.
I know.
So jealous of that person. He's just sleeping so soundly.
The moment his head hits the pack, he's out.
And they're all like, God damn it. That's how I am when my wife falls asleep literally anywhere.
Yeah. 100%. She fell asleep probably watching this movie while it was
Of
on.
course she did.
Somehow. But all those guys sitting there and talking and kind of revealing things about themselves, and even the little bit of almost kind of playfulness of the banter between Upham and Miller, you know, it's like, you know, I'm under your command. I'd have to advise you. It's my right. Go to 1,000. He's like, yeah, if we don't live that long. They somehow still make a bit of a joke.
Right.
500. 500. Yeah, 500's good. Yeah. And learning about this, and you get this moment with Wade talking about. They start talking about their mothers.
This scene absolutely crushes me.
I don't know how they shot this. It's like they shot this through like two pieces of wood. Or like a chair, like rods in a chair back or something, and you're just like but it's so framed in on his face somehow, and you're just watching him describe this, and like the tears and like welling into his eyes. This is like him talking about how his mom probably just wanted to come home early and just kind of hear about his day.
Oh, it just
and he just pretended he was asleep. I don't know why I did that. You know.
I've had moments like that, man.
I know.
Like or like with my father or something. Like, why didn't I do this for him? Like
right.
Why
didn't I do this?
But it's just the unconditional love aspect of it is like she doesn't really care, you know. It's like she'll talk to you in the morning, you know. But it made an effect on him, you know. It made him think about his mom in a different way.
Yeah.
That's the truth of
it.
life. That's the truth of life is that you'll never be perfect. You'll never lead a perfect life. But moments where you're faced with your mortality is when you will finally start to think about. We talk about it a million times. It's the little things.
Yeah.
It's never the winning the big promotion and making more money and doing this. It's the time you took an afternoon off of work and went home and just hung out with your kids.
Yeah. I talk about that already, I've been saying Saturday mornings are for the boys.
Yep.
You know, and that's if Elisha has to go to work or something, she works in the mornings on those days. It's me and Harrison hanging out, sitting, and we got Scout there too. It's just Saturday mornings for the boys.
No girls allowed, baby.
You know, it's those little things that you kind of think about that you're just like, then you get brought back into this like harsh reality of these guys.
Yeah.
You know, man, it's rough.
I'll never pass up an opportunity to talk about Leland Orzer.
Yes. I love him.
And the reason that I will talk about Leland Orzer anytime I can, he's Lieutenant DeWint. He's the one that's kind of in charge of the airplane crash.
Yeah, and again, just like one of these random characters at these points they get to.
And the reason I will always bring him up is so that it's a reminder for you to watch The Guest.
To watch The Guest and to watch Faults.
Just watch those. There you go.
Yep.
I will.
They are both horror movies.
And this is such an intense spot too.
I won't.
You'll like The Guest.
You will.
That conversation of all that for one man.
Yeah.
A lot of that going around. Like, that is crazy how they find that a tragedy happened for one fucking man, and then they're now like, well, weird, what are we doing?
Fubar.
Fubar.
I looked it up. It's not German.
I love it. I love that.
I didn't see it anywhere in my dictionary.
Let's not get to it until he realizes, because it's a super great moment.
100%.
What? Get to what? The meaning of it? Okay, cool.
I think that this scene with him is also, or really impactful. And again, if I'm diving too deep into something, my bad, but it's like there's all this talk. I think the statement of all that for one man, or I just think of, simplify it more, one man. And you think about him and his situation, and he's not talking to these guys. He didn't have to explain himself to anybody in this situation, but he's explaining it to them. He's like explaining it for himself. He's talking himself through it. He's like he's justifying it. I just need some justification here. Yeah. And you want almost any one of those other guys to be like, you did what you could. You know what I mean? But I don't think he ever gets that.
No one gives it.
No one gives it to him. And they talk about this, all that for one man. And that was a brigadier general. All that for one man. None of this matters, honestly, any of that matters now for that one guy who was a general who in the ranks in military standards, you should be taken care of, right? Yeah. He's like probably a king around that almost. In this regard, you have this private who is just one man. Yeah. And I love the opposite ends of that spectrum. I think that's what's super important, why it's so important for them to follow through after this.
Mm-hmm. You get this scene of them going through the dog tags and not realizing they're making kind of like a game of it, and all those guys walking by, they were probably their friends, or people that they knew, or people in their company at least. And Wade is the one that... Is it Wade? Yeah, Wade's the one that realizes, like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah. And Hanks realizes, or Miller realizes that I
need to figure this out.
I'm just going to fucking yell. I'm tired of this shit, tired of losing men. And then he gets the guy that's hard of hearing.
Yeah, Ryan Hurst. Another person.
Sons of Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy.
He just reminds me of David Lynch's character in Twin Peaks, where he's kind of deaf.
Okay.
So he like yells at everybody. He's like, "See, you want to go that way?" It's. Well, no, I get it.
It's always the most frustrating thing.
Yes.
We've all had the buddy who like wears like headphones or earbuds or something like that, and they're listening to loud music, and for some reason that makes them think, "What are you guys doing?" Take off your fucking headphones, dude.
You're in real life.
Yeah, you're in real life. Just sorry, was I yelling?
Yes. You're not at a Slipknot show, buddy.
How did you know you weren't yelling, you jackass?
But this is just another moment where it just feels like a forced like joke.
Was it?
To me, the Opie thing, the hard of hearing. I get it. They're trying to explain like, oh yeah, this guy lost his hearing and it's tough around here, but it also just feels a little like
felt like it was shoehorned.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, I'm not trying to nitpick it, but there's just a few moments where it takes me out of like the seriousness of this, and not in a good way. It's like you didn't have to have this guy here.
There's a difference between breaking it up a little bit and then also just getting you removed from the situation at hand.
Yeah.
Right. I get that, because it is very funny, I think, to a degree of, I think I'm okay with it because they did make a very serious situation. That guy is bleeding on the side of his head.
Right.
But he's
still here to help.
You'll have to speak up. A grenade went right out by my head. That kind of, and the other guy's already explaining it. I think it's very fun.
I do too.
It's like, boy, thank God, because otherwise, if we wouldn't have had a little bit of relief, man, it would have been rough.
Especially,
that's, again, personal.
Especially with what we're going to be getting into in this next scene. And I do think it's an opportunity for like great Hanks acting moments where he's just like, dude, with the paper. Yeah. It's like, you read. I love it. And I agree. And I see what you're saying for sure.
Yeah.
But it works for me.
Well, let's move on. So, scene 4, on the way, Miller decides to neutralize a German. God damn it.
Theobon.
German gun nest they discover. Although they are successful, Wade is killed. The men decide to execute a surrendered German soldier in revenge, but Upham intervenes. Miller releases the soldier, nicknamed Steamboat Willie. Frustrated, Ryman threatens to desert, leading to a standoff between the men that Miller defuses.
They get ready for this. This is a extremely conflicting scene for me. I think it's meant to be, for sure, of where like all of them aren't feeling good about this, and all of them are saying, I don't feel good about this, Captain. He's like, when's the last time you felt good about anything?
That's a fucked up line.
Yeah. And so do we want to get into like, do you agree with why he decided to do this now, or do you want to do it after the whole battle?
Let's just get into this whole. I mean, this is the scene here. I mean, you've got so many questionable. Question number one is, should they have done this? Question number 2 is did they do it right?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think he made the right choice?
I don't know, because I see what he's saying.
His justification for it is, are we just going to leave this so another crew to come along and get mowed down?
We have our mission. Let's go do our mission, and that's the juxtaposition of that.
Right.
Or that's
but their mission is also win the war.
Yeah,
like that's
what he's saying.
That's the overall
Correct.
mission. You know, I have a question. I feel like I could answer both those questions in one thing. I think he made the right choice, but I think he made the wrong move on how to do it. He has one of the best
guns blazing.
Dude, he's got one of the best snipers.
Yeah.
In like the military. Why couldn't he have found a spot? They were already caught him by surprise. Why couldn't he have found a spot and just sniped him off or something like that?
Right.
Or found a few of them and they could have flanked, but they all just like, I'm not a military tactic guy, but they all just like ran in a straight line together at a gun, you know? And it didn't feel, and I don't know, half of me really likes the fact that we're watching this through Upham.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that, but then I also feel like, is that because it's just so lazy on the other end of it that we're just like, well, we'll just give you this, we'll give you a far away scene because we don't feel like this is correct and how they would have stormed this gun and just like, whatever. We'll just, do you see what I'm saying? Because like, it doesn't seem tactically like something that they should have done or would have done.
I don't think that Steven Spielberg is taking that aspect of it into an account. I think he's wanting to show war from a different perspective at this point because we've seen D-Day, the most hellish place on earth, and to see this little battle take place through an outside perspective, through like, I guess, a scope, but then the effects of this it makes it much worse.
We needed this to happen.
Yeah, I think that's why you show it from this perspective.
And it it kind of begs the question, not to like compare them, but I guess that's what I'm about to ask you to do. Are you more affected by this scene or the beginning? Like
this scene.
What hurts more? In these modes,
because we don't know anyone in the opening scene, right?
Correct.
Like these are just guys. This guy just puked. That's all we saw, and now he died. You're like,
exactly.
That sucks.
Well, take this into account too. Like when you're watching war movies, you're watching from a safe room. Upham's watching from a safe perspective, But then it's very, very real.
Yeah, it becomes very real once
when
he
you're watching
runs through that smoke and
when
fog.
You're watching a war movie, that was a real thing that happened. What they're telling you is a very heroic story. That wasn't so heroic. That was very, very violent, and people fucking died. And people that
died bad.
People
deaths.
that people loved died. And at this point, I feel for Wade the most.
Wade's death sucks because he knows what's happening to him.
Yeah, I never thought about it this way until this rewatch, where he's like,
let me feel. Oh no, it's my liver. It's my leg. He knows at that moment he's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I cannot be saved. And like, what the fuck? Because, okay, think about if that were you and there were no medic there and they're like, no, we can fix you. You're going to be okay. And you can at least have some semblance of like, I'm going to be okay. No, I'm going to be okay. There's people are on their way. He knows I'm dead.
He knows damn well.
Shit. Give me morphine. Go.
Yep.
And they know at that point, they know that he's
With
he
him.
knows. They know that he knows.
They know that he knows. And because he's asking for the morphine, I'll take more. I could use some more morphine. Okay, give it to him. They just hit him with like 3 hits of it, and you just, and you just watching him go out. I can't. I don't know. I can't say it. Like I can't really say like what what you watch him do.
It's just like because you get the story of his mom, and then he's kind of just yelling for his mom as he's
But this is important because now you want to kill this German. You want to kill Steamboat Willie, and you're on board with these guys killing him. And I think Tom Hanks loses. I think this whole scene is where Captain Miller has come apart.
Yeah,
because I think he made the wrong choice of how to do this, and then he made the fucking wrong choice. You kill Steamboat Willie. We know this comes back around, and he gets killed by Steamboat Willie. Like, but it doesn't matter. Like, you kill this man.
Yeah.
Like you do not take him as a prisoner. Like, oh, now we got to take this guy around with us. You don't let him go because then he's going to go tell people you're there. You fucking kill him.
That's the way it is. And
I'm sorry.
It's extremely unfortunate, but that's, you can't give away your position. You can't let him go. He's going to get back into the ranks, Maybe he thought like he was going to blindfold him and he's going to die out there anyway, but this is a Nazi-occupied country.
Yeah.
You kill that guy.
Yeah. It's such a difficult thing to watch, and you don't know it's hard to know what side to be on where because it shifts even at different times, and I just think Wade's death, as him calling for like mama, we saw the other guy beforehand doing the same thing, but we didn't really connect it, and then we heard a story, and now we've made this other connection, and it just took this even further. Now this guy was a part of this crew that was willing to kill our guys. Yeah. And all of a sudden we're not supposed to, they're trying to follow the rules of war, but at the same time it's such a conflict.
And that's where I don't
there's rules of war is where I
rules of war. Yeah.
Okay. Rules of engagement,
whatever.
Yeah.
But that's
Geneva Convention stuff, like it's
I don't like this part of the story. I don't feel that just because Tom Hanks's character now goes, I was a school teacher. Oh, okay, then we're fine. We don't want to kill this guy anymore. We still love you, and I don't like this part of the story that this is what calmed them down, and they said, you know what, you're right. Let's let this guy go. We're on a mission. We're here together. Like, I understand it, but I just don't like it. So I don't buy it.
They let him go. They let Steamboat Willie go. And then Reiben, is about to go AWOL, right? Like, he's gonna desert almost, and it's he starts freaking out at him. Obviously Miller is questioning his own tactics and path on these things, and freaking out about it. And I think it's like you say. It's a big mystery over here of what I do and who I am, and they probably revere him very much at this point, even though they're questioning his decision making, and it almost has to bring it back down to this point of, I'm a school teacher.
I'm just a normal guy.
I'm a normal guy. Maybe you're a mechanic. And you before you got here, and maybe, you did whatever. You sold vacuums or brooms or whatever, right? And it's like, that's who I am, and it's like we're gonna make mistakes. We're all human, that kind of thing. It's like it had to bring it back down somehow, and it seemed like the timing was there. How else is he gonna draw him back around?
I get it. I totally get it. I don't know. It just feels a little forced.
It does,
but I understand. It does. I understand it. I can make it work in my head and move on. I'm not like, turn this movie off. I don't.
Exactly.
I just went, okay, and then we moved on.
Well, and the other thing, I think what we're all get drawn into, and we're just wondering at this point, honestly, is who won the $300?
That's all we really want to know.
Who won the pool?
So no one won. Did Tom Hanks keep his own money?
See, really, who gets it? In the end,
come on, guys.
That's what this movie's really about.
This is really about who gets $300.
Commerce.
Yeah,
that's what it's
about. Capitalism.
No, I see what you're saying. But I do like the impact of his speech. He needed to get them back. He needed to get them back in their good graces. But I also think that this is a war, and they just lost somebody. And they need this sort of humanity break within themselves. And the line that Cap Miller says is every man I kill, I feel further away from home. Mm-hmm. And I think Reiben is completely conflicted, obviously, at this point with the leadership of Miller, but also this is war, and he has to follow these directives.
There are rules.
There are rules, but I don't know if I don't think I have words for it, but I do agree with it works for me.
Right.
It works really well for me, and I think that it was the right time, like AJ says, to kind of reveal that information about him.
And I think my last point on this, you have something, sorry. I think my last point on like this whole scene is we're talking about, how many people you've killed and the further away you get from home and all that. And I think about every one of these guys has killed somebody at this war, probably except for Upham, right?
Correct.
And he's the one left there who hasn't killed anybody, questioning, and he has an audible moment of what is happening, like true just confusion and like scared because his the other soldiers, like his team, is apparently to him losing it, and willing to do this, So he's got the most humanity in him at this point, whereas everybody else is really, really losing it. So.
Well, final scene, boys. In Ramel, they find Ryan, but Ryan refuses to abandon his post or his fellow soldiers. Miller takes command of Ryan's unofficial group and prepares the soldiers for a German assault. Many of the group are killed, including Steamboat Willie, who has returned. As reinforcements arrive, Miller is killed, but gives final advice to Ryan decades later, and elderly Ryan visits Miller's grave. The interesting thing to me about this whole thing is I've completely forgot that we're searching for Ryan almost. And that is what is so great about this is like they already fooled you once and like then boom, there he is.
Yep.
Yeah.
And everybody's just kind of like, oh, there he is.
Oh my God.
I think it's amazing that they make you forget. Like there's so much other things going on. Oh yeah, we found him.
Yeah.
Holy shit, we found him.
And it was during a time of that was, these interactions and these little battles, they get more and more, I guess, less set up. Is the only, like, if I wasn't thinking of it, you think about how much we're set up for the beginning of this movie and, the beach, and then you get set up for like inside the town when it's raining, and then how much setup you really get for this bunker attack that they're going to go where we lose Wade. And then you get to here where there's no setup for this. It's just they get to it, half track, down, then they run into these other guys, and there he is.
Yeah, he's just there.
And like you say, it completely you just start losing. I don't even know why we're out here anymore. Kind of like those guys.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
And I think it's all done in one. This half-track takedown is all done in one scene or one shot, I believe, where it's just incredible.
Yeah.
And like even that too, like the filmmaking will take you out of it. Like in my brain anyway, I'm just like, holy shit, how the fuck do you do that? Oh, there's Ryan. Oh yeah.
Oh man,
we're looking for Ryan.
It's,
so they get into Ramel, and I think their leader is like, if you're our relief, then I'm filing a complaint. Like there's like what, 4 of them, 5
at
of them
this
left?
point, 4 or 5.
Yeah.
6 total, I think, with Miller included or whatnot, and it's just seeing him, and I think what definitely helps is that at least Ryan is a soldier who's engaged.
Yeah.
At this point, he's engaged in what's happening around him.
It's very interesting, the stance. Like, do you take that same stance if you're Ryan and all your brothers have been killed and you get to go home and leave war? At first, I'm like, yeah, dude, you get out of here, man. You got to go home. But then he convinced me. I'm like, no, you know what? Like, I'm here, dude. This is the only family, this is the only brothers I have right now. Yeah. I have to stay here. And that was a really cool moment which makes me know that I'm not a military type, like, is because I'm like, yes, get to go home.
Yeah.
And he's like, no. And that was, I love the turnaround there of like, okay, well, fine, let's do this. And I thought one of the coolest scenes was when they were all standing around laughing and listening to records, and they were still finding humor. They were still telling jokes. You got, Matt Damon's apparently ad-lib story to Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Do you think Captain Miller genuinely is laughing and smiling at his story, or is he just kind of going, yeah, we got you. Good, we got because it's really hard to tell with Tom Hanks acting if he's genuinely likes that weird story about his brother in the barn, or if he's like, yeah, dude,
it's totally a thing of him being understanding, and he's probably laughing because Matt Damon is laughing, like, or because Ryan is laughing.
Gotcha.
He's like, okay, it's funny to him.
This is a funny story, okay.
But he can't explain it well. It's a rambling story, It's this memory that's this compounded memory that he's got of what apparently is the last time they were really all together.
Yeah, and I do like, because
Ryan trying to be understanding.
Ryan has his story, and then the rest of the guys have their stories of like the big titted women, the woman that comes in the store or whatever, and not to be not a phone in sight, but like this is all they have. Like imagine being in a position like this where it's just like, okay, so what do we do? well, let's get to know each other. You're into women. What's the biggest tits you ever seen? Something like that. That's like, I guess it is sort of like a bro thing to do with that aspect. But, Ryan's story is super genuine, and it is, like what Mike said, actually genuine. But I like that aspect of that's the most human part of like meeting someone that you could ever have. Like you tell me a story, like I don't want to know what you do. I want to know, like, you believe in aliens, dude? You ever had an experience?
Yeah, let's get real here.
You ever seen a ghost?
I really want to know you.
Yeah. That's how I get to know you. I just like that aspect so much. And then they're all connecting with this song, and one of Upham's best moments, because honestly, almost irredeemable actions he takes later, but him explaining the lyrics of the song to the boys. I really love that.
I love them standing on that street corner smiling, listening to music. But first of all, why is it that every Matt Damon character needs rescued in every movie that he plays?
He's a little bitch, dude.
Yeah. He's this Saving Private Ryan, Interstellar, The Martian. I believe there's probably more that I'm not thinking. He's always needing rescue.
Quit going places.
I saw a website that calculated the costs of rescuing Matt Damon in movies, and it was like $900 billion.
And how many lives
that the world has spent to rescue Matt Damon from movies.
Damn it, Matt.
Quit going places.
Would you just stay home?
Stupid Matt.
It's a horror movie literally coming to them.
Oh,
it is extremely.
They all know they're going to die. They all know they have virtually no shot at what is about to happen.
They have a really good plan, though. This is a really cool kind of like setup. And like Miller's idea is like the sticky bombs, and we'll get Molotovs, and you'll set up in the bell tower with a 30 caliber, which seems very, very stupid to do, honestly, with a sniper.
He had a guy up there with him or something.
Yeah, well, the 30 caliber, like they're gonna want to take that out.
Yeah,
exactly. Now that the sniper's up there too, like they're definitely gonna. That's a high value kill.
Definitely doing it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh, here's a prop.
Give me the weird motorcycle tank.
The little half track?
Is that what that's called? A half track? Oh my God, I want one.
Ryben, get on the rabbit. It's good. He called
the rabbit.
Rabbit.
Oh yeah, the rabbit motorcycle. I want that, and I want to drive around town in it.
Yeah.
It's just like the ultimate.
You never take vehicles.
Never. You could go wherever you wanted on that thing. It's got wheels plus tank tracks.
Yeah.
And a little sidecar for Willa and my cat.
There you go.
Be awesome.
Careful,
dude.
Those things tip.
I know, you can kind of see it. He takes the car and he goes, "Oh shit!" It's like three wheelers. I don't want one of those.
Can't do that anymore.
They sound like a good idea.
I was debating even putting a prop into this movie, because not that you really want to take anything home from this, but I did see that at the end. I go, I want that.
Ooh, I got mine. I want what's Time Sizemore's character's name?
Oh geez, it's like Hobart.
Horvath. The hockey player. Horvat.
Oh.
I want his sand. His collected sand.
Cool. All of them or just one of them?
All of them. The whole bag.
Okay.
I want I think I want Ryben's jacket.
Yeah, I was gonna do that one too.
I think I want Ryben's jacket.
Cool.
It's just super cool, because it's just the way that he, we always see this in like movies. Like back then, people have kind of customized their, clothing to some degree, and whether it be their helmet, a jacket, or something on their pants, But that jacket, I think I'm going to take that jacket.
Born to Kill and Full Metal Jacket.
Basically,
on the helmet.
Exactly. So yeah, that's a tough one though. I was going to say at this point, maybe the worst part of this, guys. I completely agree with Ryben. Speaking of which, now you don't have socks. Now you don't have socks.
You gotta at least have some small comforts in life.
I
Dude.
have sweaty ass feet.
Watching that man put his boot back on after he's removed his socks, I feel that. I could feel that as it was happening. I was like,
if you look at my bare feet, they will start sweating profusely. I have to have socks.
Man, that is rough, dude.
Well, so, I mean, as we're finishing it up, what do you think about this final battle? This final battle has some of the most intense things. That the shot of my boy Pepper,
Barry Pepper.
Barry
like
Pepper,
he goes
Jackson.
out like an all-star, just being like, I'm going to do everything I can because I know I'm not going to make it. But the shot of that tank turning up towards him. Like, come on, man.
Let's see if I can do it. No, I won't.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I hate that he goes out and then we get the scene of up him. It really sucks, dude. I think this is the hardest thing to watch. This scene of this knife battle and knowing that he is standing out there and he can do something. And I hate it because it's so easy for us to go, oh, I would have just ran in there.
Just go up there, man.
Just go in there. And it's so easy for us to do this. And I'd like to think that I would. I really would like to think I would, but I don't know.
I know. I think that's a really, like you say, it is one of the hardest things to watch because you're watching both perspectives and you have to realize that he only has one. And he's also not a battle-hardened person really up to this point. He's seen a lot of shit, but he hasn't really done a lot of shit. And that's the tough thing, and that's why they've got him running errands essentially for like ammo and such. I mean, they need him to be alive, and they need him to just do what he can to be a part of this. And it's so frustrating to watch him not do something.
I know that it's conflicting, but goddamn it, while there's a 20 millimeter gun like smoking people on a tank and literally ripping them apart, shooting at you while you're running across the street to get to somebody else, that takes bravery.
Yeah.
Why not fucking go up there? You have a goddamn gun. There's no gunshots going on up there right now. You don't know what's going on, obviously. I know that. But get the fuck up there. You've spent how many goddamn days with this fellow man right now? Hit
him on the head with your typewriter.
Dude.
Do something.
Drop a typewriter on his head, Looney Tunes style.
And this German guy knows what a piece of shit he is. He just walks right past him. He's like, fuck this guy.
He's not even going to do anything.
It's like letting
what are you gonna
Steamboat
do,
Willie
pussy?
go.
Yeah, like it's just wow.
Dude, we'll get there.
Weird.
Well, we're here, I guess. There were some people on Reddit who thought that the German who killed Mellish also was the German at the end, and it's not.
Yeah.
That the German who kills Mellish is not Steamboat Willie.
Yes,
he's an SS guy.
I did think that too as a kid.
For a long time, I thought it was the same guy.
Which is why you think Upham finally makes the kill on him. Be like,
right.
Now I can finally kill you.
And then you finally realize that no, Steamboat Willie just got picked up by this German group, and he's now just kind of fallen into their ranks. At the end, you see that. And again, this is another frustrating point of Upham just being on the line. He's standing down the line, like staring down the line of this German, shooting line. And like, you've got a gun. You can do something about it, but you're not doing anything about it. And he sees Steamboat Willie, and Steamboat Willie is the one who makes the shot on Miller.
Yeah.
But
that's the
and again,
only,
it's not that like he would know that, but I'm just saying it's so frustrating to watch.
That's the only to me like kind of movie moment of the movie that doesn't necessarily take me out of it, but just like, oh well that's the guy that kills him. That's pretty
wow, because he let him go and then he kills him.
You're right.
That was the only thing to me, because like they make it a point where he's looking down the sights, he's like, oh, that's him. Like we don't need that.
Well, and same with Upham at the end, and Steamboat Willie recognizes him, and he says Upham, and douche, he does it.
I don't like that he got the ability to do this. It sucks that he let his fellow guy die, and now he gets to be the one to be like, I have a redeeming quality. I'm gonna finally do something good. Like, now you are. It's like, are you gonna shoot all of us? No, just you, Steamboat Willie.
Just you, Steamboat.
Come on, man. Like, I don't like that he gets to live.
Give me the gun, Upham.
Yeah. Give me the gun.
Give me the gun.
It's like
give me the gun.
We have we have our own battalion here. I would like to. Craig's our boy. If I got here and Craig was like getting attacked by somebody, I'd be like, no, that's my boy. I'm fucking helping Craig out.
Right.
Like, we've created a camaraderie.
There you go.
Come on,
bro.
Yeah.
Fuck Upham, dude. I don't like.
Like you say, it's the only movie moment that really happens where they could have peppered this in.
They didn't have to do that.
Right. They could have done this the whole time too, of making it be like, Miller going up to the guy and say, I've got a mission, and you don't have to come with me, but I need some men. Who's coming with me? I'll go, sir. I'll go. Yeah. I'll go, and I'll go too, and I'll go too. You got my gun. You know, that kind of shit,
I'm
like Fellowship
Spartacus.
style. I'm Spartacus. And like doing
Charlie
that the whole
Conway,
way
Duluth,
through.
Minnesota.
Yeah. Oakland, Los Angeles, Kenan Thompson. I don't know. But anyways, you could have had these movie moments the whole time through, and they did finish with one. And I like the last moment between, Miller and Ryan. That's a very real moment as well.
Yeah.
Earn it, and
It ties
come
the
back
whole
through.
movie into a nice little bow of like, even though you've never been to war, these are words to live by. Life is fucking short and precious. Make it happen. Like, make this worthwhile. Yeah, they didn't have to have this old man front and back kind of thing to bookend the story, but it's Hollywood and it works. It makes sense.
It opens on an American flag and closes on an American flag, and it whatever. I'm not getting political.
That fade from Ryan into old man Ryan is perfection.
Yeah. What do you guys,
my God.
One last thing for me. What do you guys think about like the supposed fake out of maybe the old man is Miller? Did you ever think that?
I thought all from the beginning that was Private Ryan.
Okay.
I don't know why. I know that they want you to think it's Miller, but I was like, oh, they saved him. Movie over.
Right.
Like, he's old now.
Well, what do you think about that anyway? Then, if it didn't, I guess give you that impression. I think they're going for that, right?
Yeah.
I
think
wrong?
they are trying to make you think that it's Miller.
So you kind of have like, it's Tom Hanks. He's going
to
live.
live.
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't?
Gotcha. I guess I never put it together either.
Okay.
Personally, but now that you say that, they did fade into his eyes first in the opening. So, yeah, it's I like the bookend. I think it draws in again more humanity into what it was, and also the severity of this man went on to have his family, and that's standing behind him, and he has these feelings. And he's tried to be a good man, and all these other men did not.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, my dudes, it has been quite possibly our longest episode, but also our longest movie. So you got to expect that. We have talked about it scene by scene, stripped away the nostalgia. We got to give this a modern day rating. AJ, what do you got, man?
This is a heavy movie, boys. I'm really proud of us that we made it through.
We did it.
I'll be honest with you.
I shed almost one tear.
I know. And it's watching this movie again, I think it's there's at no point that I feel like I feel more aware of some of those moments, that are somewhat comedic. But it doesn't lose it for me. And the storytelling is timeless. The way that they do it, a lot of the practical effects and the time that they decided to take to really drive it home on this. And again, I think it does. It bookends well, as you put it, Mike, with the older man, the old Ryan, to draw this back to humanity and being more aware of outside yourself. That his generation, he has generations now in his world, whereas the men who died did not, to whatever degree. And it's really tough. And it's also, that's a hell of a movie to watch while your wife holds your son sitting there too. So it's a hell of a thing.
You travel with your mocktails to go record a podcast.
Correct.
In Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
And I have the ability to do this because of stories like what we just witnessed. So that all being said, I think it's a great movie. I can watch it, and the length doesn't bother me. It's a long ass movie, but damn it, it is good, and I love Tom Hanks. The casting's amazing. I have to give this a 9.4.
Damn.
9.4. Sean, what about you, man?
It's I almost I gotta say, I almost didn't want to come and give this a rating because I really feel like this is kind of an unrateable movie. I think this is mostly just like an artifact of. This is like an important artifact.
It's not applicable. Watch it.
Yeah,
like that's the rating.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah,
that's kind of what it is. So I think I'm just going to grade it on the filmmaking instead, and it's Steven Spielberg, and it's Tom Hanks, and it's a great cast, and it's from what I hear, a completely realistic war movie of what it was really like. I do feel the intensity. I do feel the loss, especially in this rewatch for sure. And what I wanted to say really is that people were like, this is an anti-war movie. It's like, I don't think it's actually an anti-war movie, but I don't think it's propaganda either. I think it's just a clear-cut true telling of an event that was extremely important, that was harrowing and was very emotional and very sad, but also necessary, you know. And yeah, I think because you grade this on rewatchability, and it's like I don't know when I really want to rewatch this. But I'm the same as AJ. I'm 9.4.
Yeah, I agree, Shaun. I'm like, rewatchability has to have some sort of stake in this. You know, like I watched The Passion of the Christ, and it was a great historical film. I'm never gonna watch it ever again. This one's very tough to watch. I'm not just gonna be like, oh, Saving Private Ryan, let's watch it.
Oh, nice, they put that on Netflix. Oh, sweet.
Oh, great. But my God, as a tribute to both of my incredible grandparents who have passed away, my grandpa Schulte was in battle in World War II. My grandpa Patton was actually administrative drafted because he had typewriting skills and stuff, so he did more administrative stuff. Both served their country without question, and were two of the finest men I've ever known in my life. And so, like, you gotta, man, this movie's so great. I love the filmmaking. The filmmaking is unbelievably top notch. The acting's incredible. There are moments where I hated that they kind of went a little Hollywood with it. And then you take that with a little bit of the rewatchability here. I'm a little lower than you guys, but this is still very high on my list. I'm an 8.6. Bud Larsen, the man that made this happen, that chose this, he said, I rewatched this last weekend with my oldest son, 8 years old. I told him to be prepared to look away or cover your eyes when the landing on Omaha Beach starts, as it gets very graphic. I continue to research this movie and this era, like the fact that all the actors in this movie were sent to a military-style boot camp to be a soldier except for Matt Damon. It was so that the other actors would build up an unconscious resentment toward him, or the fact that the movie is so realistic that after the movie came out, the Office of Veterans Affairs set a hotline for traumatized veterans. Right. When the movie starts out, I thought the old man was walking through the Arlington National Cemetery, but in reality, he was walking at the Normandy American Cemetery and Memorial in Normandy, France, that honors American troops who died in Europe during World War II. It is located on the site of the former temporary battlefield cemetery of St. Laurent, covers 172.5 acres, and contains 9,388 graves. It is also credited with helping renew interest in World War II at the turn of the century, influencing other films, television shows, and video games set during the war, Medal of Honor and Call of Duty, to name a few. It was great watching this film again. I would watch again. Most punchable face, Corporal Upham. Prop would have to be the flamethrower for when they secured the beach. Nice. My modern day rating, 9.9.
All right.
Wow.
He's making up for me, so I think this is going to be a high rating. That is a 9.33 for our modern day ratings, guys, and that takes us to number 2 on the list.
Number 2, wow.
That is below Dazed and Confused, just above Goodfellas is where that lands, and I feel like that's pretty damn good company.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just to say, you have some family members who serve. I know you actively have a family member who serves.
My grandfather also.
Yeah, my brother. I have some uncles, and we said in the beginning, we know it's kind of like cliche, I guess, but thank you guys who do. And women, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, all those.
Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for being here. Tune in next week. We're going to lighten it up a little bit.
Hey, please.
We're going to have our bonus I've Never Seen series. We're going to do Cobra.
You want to know what war really is? It's the streets of L.A. And we need to clean that shit up.
You bet.
And we are going to follow that up. Hopefully going to follow that up with True Romance. However, there might be something that might knock that off course. We'll figure that out when we get there.
Valentine's Day action, but we have something else maybe.
Also, if you're new to the podcast, go back this time last year. We did a mini bite on Nintendo 64.
Tight.
That hit a lot of people's feels buttons right there. We talked about all the great games of the Nintendo 64 era, so go check that out. Don't forget, we have a voicemail. Call us at 319-804-9596. Leave us some feedback like today's caller.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Axel calling from Marrakesh in Morocco, where I live with my family. I discovered your podcast after your crossover with Brett Chrysler, and I thought it was hilarious, and I went back straight to number 1 podcast, to your first podcast, and have been listening to all of them, and I think you guys are hilarious. Keep up the good work. Keep up the entertainment. Keep on finding these wonderful gems out of our history and through all the history we have with the cinema. And, well, thank you very much. You guys are a great laugh, and you really make me smile whenever I listen to one of your podcasts. Keep up the good work, and you will get there. Bye-bye.
Confused Breakfast in Morocco.
Damn, dude.
Time for a world tour.
Axel from Morocco.
Yeah.
You got a voice. I thought James Earl Jones called in for a second.
Everything about you is sexy. I don't care. I'm sorry.
If you're, we need to meet. We
gotta meet.
We need to become friends. It's like, hey, Axel from Morocco, who's got what I can only imagine is just the most gorgeous family. It's like looking at the sun. I want to meet you.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling in.
Thank you, man. Appreciate the kind words.
Very much so. Guys, thank you again so much for listening. Make sure you are checking us out anywhere on social media at Confused Breakfast. At Confused Breakfast, anywhere for social media. Search it out. Search for us on YouTube. Make sure you're watching. And leave us a review. 5 stars. Leave us a review. Write us a review because we love reading them.
Go to confusedbreakfast.com and get some merch. Get some shirts with our logo on it. Get some shirts with Damn Dang It on it. You could also go to that same stupid damn website and look at our ratings. You can see that Saving Private Ryan has just punched number 2 and see our individual ratings as well.
Check us out, patreon.com/confusedbreakfast. All the bonus stuff you could ever ask. We're going to do a bonus episode right after this that you can listen to. And check out all of our sponsors. Please support them. We are presented and produced by LAS Media Group here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. We got Craig on the controls, making everything look good for you.
I would die for you, buddy.
I would die for you. I would die for you, Prince. Darling. And we are proudly on the Cloud 10 podcast network, which is also powered by iHeartMedia. You got to check them out at cloud10.fm. That's it for us. Goodbye.
Cheers.
Bye.